Today we're talking about key performance indicators in a property management company, and I want to just highlight some of my favorites. As a management company on the financial side, some of the top things that we're going to want to track and are tracking are management fee revenues, and then our other fee revenues to kind of differentiate between the two, and then total revenue, revenue per unit under management, and then our expenses between our labor expense and our tech expense to get an actual monthly profit amount. The most interesting of these KPIs is probably the revenue per unit, because obviously that's an easy thing to track as a singular data point to see hopefully that we're trending up as months go by and years pass. Now, communication is super important in property management, and we're using a couple different channels to try and harness that and track the numbers there. So Ring Central is our phone system, Gmail is our email system, and then for texting and even some calling, we will be using Lead Simple. Now, Lead Simple is able to kind of look over our inbox and monitor that aspect. And then we will be kind of using Lead Simple as the outbound source for all texting and calling as well to get everything tracked in kind of one database. This will allow us to see not only our call volume inside and outside of business hours, but also see what kind of requests are getting put in. Is this a maintenance request that's high priority, or is this just a general inquiry? Is this a vendor reaching out to try and offer their services to us? So we can really differentiate between that and pull reports on a weekly, monthly, and annual basis to see what kind of volumes we're getting so that we can staff accordingly. Now, on top of that, we're also going to be able to see how fast we respond, how many communications back and forth between the potential either resident, applicant, vendor, whoever it may be. How long is it taking us to resolve the issue and actually close the ticket, which is a cool function that Lead Simple offers in their inbox feature. Now, two other ways we're going to get feedback from our residents and our vendors and just anyone that interacts with our company really is going to be the Google Business Review, just a great way to kind of get feedback, build up your brand and reputation in the market. And secondly, our maintenance software, Property Mail, that we'll be utilizing actually allows us to ask both the vendor and the resident for a quick little survey on how the experience was interacting with us as a management company, the resident for the vendor and the vendor for the resident, how the scheduling worked, and all of those aspects. So kind of two key points there between the Google Business Reviews and the little mini surveys that we'll get from our maintenance software. Now, leasing is another great point and huge piece of property management from your renewals. We'll be tracking 30, 60, 90-day renewals coming up so that we can reach out preemptively to try and see what the tenants' intents are and get ahead of them, hopefully renew them, and if not, have a smooth move-out process because we started those communications early. Other things we'll look at for current residents are our actual collections versus leased rent amounts, so we can stay on top of those points and see where the common trends are on why we're having issues with collections. Are there any certain commonalities between those residents that we've placed that is causing the issues? On the upfront leasing side, we'll look at days on market, marketed rent versus actual rent that we receive, our application denial rate versus approval rate, and things like how long does it take us to turn around an application and actually get back to an applicant, things of that nature. We'll also look into our marketing between where our actual applicants and showings coming from between all of the softwares that we syndicate through Tenant Turner. So that'll be really good to know, hey, our single family house is constantly getting listed and leased through Zillow versus our apartments going through apartments.com, so that we can kind of really focus our efforts in the certain areas that are producing the most given the asset type that we're managing. On the maintenance side, Property Meld is a really strong software specifically focused on maintenance that allows us to look at work orders, volumes, priority of those work orders that are coming in, any commonalities between them, along with the vendor interface for scheduling. And so some of the things that we'll look at there are on a weekly and very frequent basis, how many unassigned work orders, unscheduled work orders, high priority that are still open after X days. And that'll give us good insights into, hey, are we providing a great resident experience on the maintenance front by taking care of these things quickly, efficiently, and with great communication. Other things we'll look at on the maintenance side are going to be the actual unit turns. How long does it take us to get in the unit and start the work? How long does it take us to make it rent ready, along with starting the showing process, getting potential residents in there to view the property, and a lot of the metrics around the actual leasing side as well. We'll also look at vendor outstanding invoices and how long it takes us to pay, which is a great indicator of, hey, people want to work with companies that actually pay them. So if it takes us 2 months, we're probably never going to use that vendor again. again because they're not gonna wanna work with us. So being on top of those metrics as well is gonna be very important so that we can create and maintain great relationships with the vendors. Now, indicators that we'll track on the resident experience side are things like the reviews we're getting through the maintenance software along with Google Business Reviews specific to residents. We'll also look at how many Christmas cards, holiday cards we're sending out, how many birthday cards we got out, how many newsletters we've sent, interactions, and little fun things that we can implement to make our properties feel more like a community and a home than just a tenant and a place to rent in our property. Now I'm gonna tag a shared link to a full list of over 80 indicators that you can track in your business in the description. So check that out and let us know what your favorites are.